Morning light spills softly across the glass doors of the hospital, the kind that turns everything warm and gentle before the day grows busy. Automatic doors slide open and close with a quiet rhythm. Nurses pass by with coffee in hand. Families pause, breathe, and step inside. And just outside the entrance, on the smooth concrete warmed by early sun, a dog sits patiently. He doesn't pace. He doesn't bark. He simply waits. Each time the doors open, his ears lift slightly. His gaze follows faces, not with excitement, but with recognition, as if he's searching for something specific. When the wrong person passes, he relaxes again, calm and grounded, tail resting against the ground. But when one particular figure appears, someone walking slowly, shoulders heavy, the dog rises and takes a single step forward. Just one. People begin to notice. A security guard watches from a distance. A nurse slows her walk. There's something intentional in the way the dog moves, something gentle yet certain. When the person reaches the entrance, the dog sits again, close enough to be felt but not touched unless invited. The air seems to soften around them. The person exhales. Their posture shifts. A hand lowers instinctively, brushing warm fur. No words are exchanged, yet something unseen passes between them, a quiet understanding, a shared pause in a place full of urgency. No one knows why the dog waits here every morning. No one knows how he chooses who to approach. But as the hospital doors slide shut behind them, it becomes clear this is not coincidence. The dog sensed something familiar. And what he was waiting for would change everything. The day begins softly here. Before the rush. Before the sirens. Before the weight of decisions settles into the walls. Morning light stretches across the hospital entrance, pale gold and patient. It reflects off the wide glass doors, the polished concrete, the metal railings still cool from the night air. Inside, footsteps echo gently. A nurse adjusts her badge. A janitor hums under his breath while guiding a mop across the floor. Someone laughs quietly near the elevators, too early for urgency, too early for worry. And outside the entrance, just to the right of the sliding doors, a dog sits. He isn't tied. He isn't restless. He doesn't wander. He sits as if this exact spot matters. His coat catches the light warm browns mixed with soft black along his back. His posture is calm, grounded. Front paws aligned neatly. Tail resting against the concrete. He watches the doors. Not with excitement. Not with expectation. With focus. Every time the doors slide open, a whisper of air passes over his face. His ears lift, just slightly. His eyes scan faces as they emerge. A man in scrubs steps out, phone pressed to his ear. The dog watches, then relaxes. Two women walk in together, speaking in hushed tones. The dog doesn't move. A delivery worker rolls a cart through the entrance. The dog blinks slowly, unbothered. Then the doors close again. The dog exhales. He waits. Across the way, the security desk sits behind thick glass. The morning guard, Raymond, sips from a paper cup and glances outside. He's seen the dog before. Yesterday. The day before that. Always in the same place. Raymond leans closer to the window. He's back, he murmurs. No concern in his voice, only curiosity. Outside, the dog shifts his weight slightly. Not restless. Just adjusting. A breeze moves through the entrance plaza, lifting a few dry leaves. The dog doesn't chase them. His attention stays locked on the doors. Minutes pass. People come and go. Some notice him. Most don't. A woman pauses briefly, her hand tightening around the strap of her bag. She looks down at him. "Oh, hey there," she says softly. The dog lifts his eyes to hers. For a moment, she smiles, then continues inside. The dog watches her disappear. He does not follow. Inside the hospital, a nurse named Elena slows her pace as she approaches the doors. She's ending her night shift, shoulders heavy, eyes tired. She sees the dog. Again. She stops this time. From behind the glass, she studies him. He's calm, she whispers, mostly to herself. Too calm to be lost. The doors open. The dog's ears lift higher now. Elena steps out. The dog turns his head toward her, then looks past her. His body tenses just slightly. Not alarmed. Alert. Someone else is coming. Elena notices it. She follows his gaze. Down the hallway behind her, a figure approaches slowly. Measured steps. A pause every few feet. The dog rises. Not quickly. Not suddenly. One smooth movement. He takes a single step forward. Then stops. Elena's breath catches. The dog sits again, closer to the doors now. Intentional. The doors slide open once more. The person steps outside. They hesitate when they see the dog. The dog doesn't approach. He simply waits, close enough to be felt. The person's shoulders sag. A long breath escapes them, shaky at first, then steadier. They lower a hand without thinking. The dog leans in just enough for their fingers to meet his fur. Warm. Solid. Real. No one speaks. The hospital entrance seems to quiet around them. As if the building itself is listening. Elena watches, unmoving. Raymond sets his coffee down. Something about this moment feels familiar. Important. The dog closes his eyes for a second. Just a second. As if confirming something he already knew. And when the person finally steps inside, the dog does not follow. He returns to his spot. Sits. Waits. Because this wasn't chance. And whatever the dog is sensing has only just begun. No one sees him arrive. That's the strange part. By the time the first nurse parks her car, by the time the night shift lights dim slightly inside the lobby, the dog is already there. Sitting in the same place. Facing the same doors. As if he's always been. Raymond starts to notice the pattern. Every morning, just before dawn, before the sky fully decides on a color, the dog is already waiting. Raymond steps outside one morning, the air cool and still. He carries his coffee with both hands, steam rising into the quiet. "You here early again," he says gently. The dog looks at him. Not startled. Not defensive. Just aware. Raymond crouches a few feet away, careful not to invade the space the dog seems to protect. Up close, he can see more detail now. The dog is older than he first thought. Not old, but lived in. A touch of gray around the muzzle. Eyes deep and thoughtful. A calm that doesn't come from training alone. "You belong to someone?" Raymond asks. The dog blinks once. No collar. No tags. But also, no desperation. Raymond straightens slowly and steps back inside. From the desk, he watches through the glass. The dog doesn't move. Inside the hospital, the rhythm of the early morning begins. Soft announcements over the intercom. Carts rolling down hallways. The quiet hum of machines waking up. Elena finishes her shift again that morning. She exits through the same doors, exhaustion settling into her bones. The dog is there. Again. She pauses, longer this time. "Hey," she whispers, kneeling slightly. "You come here every morning, don't you?" The dog tilts his head just enough to acknowledge her voice. Elena smiles. She reaches into her pocket and pulls out a small packet of crackers. Breaks one gently. Sets it on the ground, a respectful distance away. The dog does not touch it. He looks at the doors instead. Elena follows his gaze. "You're waiting for someone," she says softly. Not a question. A statement. The dog's ears lift. The doors slide open. A man steps out, young, rushing, phone in hand. The dog watches him pass, then relaxes. Elena exhales without realizing she was holding her breath. "That's not who you're here for," she murmurs. The dog settles again. Minutes later, the sun begins to rise. Warm light spills across the entrance, painting the concrete in gold. The dog's fur glows softly. Staff members begin to talk. "Is that the same dog from yesterday? He's been here all week. He's so calm, it's comforting." A volunteer named Mrs. Harris stops beside him one morning. She doesn't reach out. She simply stands quietly. "He reminds me of my husband," she says to no one in particular. "He used to wait like that." The dog glances up at her. She smiles through misty eyes. "Oh," she whispers. "You understand." She steps inside. The dog watches her go. What no one notices yet is how precise his timing is. He doesn't arrive late. He doesn't leave early. Always before sunrise. Always until mid-morning. Then, just as quietly as he appeared, he's gone. Raymond checks the cameras one afternoon. He rewinds the footage. The dog is there at 5:12 a.m. Still there at 9:48. Then, the spot is empty. No wandering. No hesitation. Just gone. The next morning, Raymond watches from the desk. 5:08 a.m. Nothing. 5:11 a.m. Nothing. 5:12 a.m. The dog walks into frame. Straight to the spot. Turns once. Sits. Raymond shakes his head in disbelief. "That's not normal," he murmurs. Inside the hospital, a woman steps out of an elevator slowly. She moves like someone carrying invisible weight. The dog's ears lift. Not fully. Not yet. She pauses near the doors, hand resting against the wall. Takes a breath. The dog watches her closely now. Focused. Connected. She steps outside. The dog rises, takes one careful step toward her, then stops. She looks down. Their eyes meet. Her face softens instantly. "Oh," she whispers. She crouches without thinking. The dog sits again, close enough to be felt. She presses her forehead briefly against his. A long breath leaves her. "I didn't know I needed this," she says. Inside, Elena watches. Her chest tightens. This isn't coincidence anymore. This is intention. And the dog knows exactly why he's here. But the reason he waits before sunrise, and who he's truly waiting for, has yet to be understood. By the end of the week, the dog is no longer invisible. Not to the staff. Not to the regular visitors. Not to the people who pass through the hospital doors carrying more than they can say out loud. Still, no one can explain him. He arrives before sunrise. He sits in the same place. He waits. And when the doors open, he chooses. That's the part that unsettles people the most. Elena begins to notice it first. She watches from behind the glass as she finishes her shift, hands folded loosely at her waist. The dog doesn't react to noise. Doesn't react to crowds. But certain people make him move. A man in scrubs rushes past, face tight with stress. The dog doesn't blink. A couple steps out, arguing quietly. The dog turns his head away. Then a young woman exits slowly, eyes red, shoulders drawn inward. The dog's posture changes. Not sudden. Not dramatic. Just aware. He stands. Takes a step forward. Stops. The woman hesitates when she sees him. "Hey," she says, voice unsteady. The dog sits. She lowers herself onto the edge of the concrete planter nearby, hands trembling slightly. The dog doesn't touch her. He simply stays. A minute passes. Then another. Her breathing slows. She wipes her face and lets out a quiet laugh, surprised. "Okay," she whispers. That helped. She stands and walks away lighter than she arrived. Elena feels it in her chest. Raymond feels it too. He keeps a small notebook behind the desk now. Not official. Just curiosity. Tuesday, older man, cane, long pause, dog stood. Wednesday, young mother, tears, dog approached. Thursday, woman alone, dog sat close. There's no pattern that makes sense on paper. Different ages. Different backgrounds. Different reasons for being here. Except one. Every person the dog responds to is carrying something heavy. Something invisible. Raymond flips the notebook closed one morning and shakes his head. He's not looking at faces, he murmurs. He's looking past them. One afternoon, a doctor named Marcus stops on his way out. He notices the dog sitting quietly beside the doors and smiles. "Good boy," he says warmly, holding out a hand. The dog looks at him. Then looks away. Marcus pauses, surprised. "Well," he chuckles. "Guess not today." He walks on. Moments later, another figure appears. A hospital custodian. Late 50s, shoulders slumped, lunch bag in hand. The dog rises instantly. Not a step this time. 2. The custodian freezes. His breath catches. He sets the bag down slowly. The dog sits in front of him, close enough that their knees nearly touch. The man's eyes fill. "I didn't even know anyone noticed," he whispers. He sits on the concrete, back against the wall. The dog leans in just slightly. Just enough. They stay like that for a long moment. Elena watches, throat tight. Afterward, the custodian stands, wipes his face, and pats the dog's head gently. "Thank you," he says. "I'll be okay now." The dog returns to his spot. As if nothing happened. That evening, staff gather near the break room. "Maybe he's trained," someone suggests. "A therapy dog?" "No vest," another replies. "No handler." "Maybe he belongs to a patient?" Raymond shakes his head. "He leaves every day. Same time. Like clockwork." Elena frowns. "Where does he go?" No one answers. The cameras offer no clues. The dog walks out of frame and never reappears. Until the next morning. Something else begins to happen. People start to wait. Not for appointments. For the dog. A woman sits on the bench across from the entrance longer than necessary. A man stands near the doors, pretending to check his phone. They watch him. Not with expectation. With hope. The dog doesn't respond to all of them. Only a few. And when he does, the effect is the same every time. Breathing slows. Shoulders drop. Faces soften. It's subtle. But it's real. Elena realizes something late one morning. The dog never approaches anyone who's already comforted. Only those who are still holding everything inside. That realization stays with her. Because it means the dog isn't guessing. He's listening. To something no one else can hear. And whatever guides him is more precise than instinct alone. This is no accident. This is a calling. But why this hospital? And why now? Remains a mystery. Waiting to be uncovered. The first time it becomes personal, no one expects it. Not Elena. Not Raymond. Not the dog. It happens on a quiet Thursday morning, when the hospital feels slower than usual. The kind of morning where sound carries, footsteps echo longer, doors close more softly. The dog is already in his place. Sunlight warms the concrete beneath him. A soft breeze moves through the entrance plaza, lifting the edge of his fur. He watches the doors with the same steady focus he always has. Elena stands inside, leaning against the wall near the security desk. She's off the clock now, jacket folded over her arm. She should go home. But she doesn't. The doors slide open. A man steps out. Mid-40s. Simple jacket. Hands tucked into his pockets. He walks 2 steps, then stops. Not because of the dog. Because something inside him falters. He stares at the ground, shoulders tight, jaw clenched as if holding something back. His breath comes shallow. The dog stands immediately. No hesitation. No pause. He walks toward the man in slow, measured steps. Stops just in front of him. Sits. The man looks down. Their eyes meet. For a moment, nothing happens. Then the man's face changes. His shoulders loosen. His breath deepens. He crouches slowly, as if afraid the moment might break. "Hey," he whispers. The dog doesn't move. The man rests his elbows on his knees, hands shaking slightly. "I didn't think today would be this hard," he says quietly. Elena feels her chest tighten. She hasn't heard anyone speak like that out loud here. Not without tears. Not without urgency. The man reaches out, stops himself, then gently rests his hand on the dog's head. The dog leans in. Just enough. The man exhales long and unguarded. "I haven't told anyone that," he murmurs. "But you knew." They stay like that. The world continues around them, cars passing, doors opening, voices inside. But the space between them feels sealed. After a while, the man stands. He wipes his face quickly, embarrassed. "Thanks," he says, voice steadier now. "I think I can go back in." The dog watches him return through the doors. Then he walks back to his spot. Sits. Elena realizes she's holding her breath. Raymond clears his throat. "That one was different," he says softly. Elena nods. Later that morning, the man comes back out. He pauses when he sees the dog again. Smiles. This time, the dog doesn't move. His job is done. Elena steps outside before she can stop herself. "Excuse me," she says gently. The man turns. "Yes?" "I just wanted to ask," she gestures toward the dog. "Did he help?" The man swallows. "Yes," he says simply. "He reminded me I wasn't alone." Elena nods, eyes warm. "Me too," she admits. The man leaves. The dog stays. That afternoon, Elena brings water. Sets the bowl nearby. The dog drinks, but only after glancing at the doors. She sits on the ground a few feet away, careful not to intrude. "You're not random," she whispers. "I can feel that." The dog looks at her. For the first time, really looks. His eyes are steady. Kind. As if measuring something. Elena smiles softly. "Okay," she says. "I won't push." The dog returns his gaze to the entrance. And in that quiet moment, a connection forms. Not dramatic. Not loud. Just a shared understanding. This dog isn't lost. He's exactly where he's meant to be. And whoever he's waiting for is closer than anyone realizes. By now, the dog is part of the hospital's rhythm. Not officially. Not on any schedule. But present. Staff mention him the way they mention weather. He's already there. He waited again today. He picked someone. Curiosity shifts into something deeper. Recognition. Elena starts paying closer attention, not just to the dog, but to who he responds to. She notices it during a late morning lull. A nurse exits laughing, phone pressed to her ear. The dog doesn't move. A delivery driver steps out, earbuds in. Nothing. Then an older woman appears. She walks slowly, fingers curled tightly around the strap of her purse. Her eyes scan the ground, unfocused. The dog rises. Elena feels it before it happens, the subtle change in the air. The dog approaches the woman, stops a few steps away, and sits. The woman freezes. Her lips part, breath catching. "Oh," she whispers. "Oh my." She kneels carefully, joints stiff, and places her palm against the dog's chest. Her shoulders shake. "I sat with him all night," she says softly. "I didn't want to leave." The dog stays perfectly still. She leans forward, resting her forehead against his. Elena turns away, giving him privacy. When the woman finally stands, her face is calmer. Not healed, but steadier. As she walks away, Elena realizes something. The dog didn't respond to sadness alone. He responded to unfinished emotion. Moments later, Raymond joins Elena near the doors. "You see it too, don't you?" he asks. She nods slowly. He waits for people who haven't had their moment yet. Raymond exhales. Like he's giving it to them. That afternoon, Elena reviews the shift log in her mind. Every person the dog approaches, every single one, is leaving something behind. A long night. A difficult decision. A goodbye that didn't feel complete. The dog never approaches people entering the hospital. Only those stepping out. As if he knows, the weight is heaviest when you leave. The realization settles deep in Elena's chest. This isn't coincidence. This is recognition. A young resident named Paul approaches later, curiosity written all over his face. "I heard about the dog," he says. "Thought I'd see for myself." He steps outside. The dog glances at him, then looks back to the doors. Paul laughs softly. "Guess I'm not the chosen one." But moments later, a woman in scrubs exits behind him. She stops abruptly when she sees the dog. Her hand presses to her chest. The dog stands. Paul's smile fades. "Oh," he murmurs. The woman sinks down onto the bench nearby, eyes filling. "I didn't cry in there," she says quietly. "I didn't want anyone to see." The dog sits in front of her. Patient. Grounded. Paul steps back, understanding. Later that evening, Elena walks outside alone. The dog remains in his place. She sits beside him, not close enough to touch. "You wait for people who think they're done feeling," she says softly. But they're not. The dog's ears lift. The doors slide open. A familiar figure steps out. Elena freezes. It's the same woman from earlier in the week, the one who leaned her forehead against the dog without thinking. The dog stands instantly. Not one step. 3. Elena's heart begins to race. The woman stops mid-step, eyes widening. "You," she breathes. The dog sits before her. This time, she laughs through tears. "You remembered me," she says. The dog leans in slightly. She kneels, wraps her arms around his neck, and exhales deeply. "I was hoping you'd be here," she whispers. Elena's eyes sting. Recognition becomes certainty. The dog isn't responding to random emotion. He remembers. He chooses. And when he chooses someone once, he never forgets them. That night, Elena can't sleep. She thinks about memory. About familiarity. About bonds that don't need words. She wonders where the dog goes after he leaves. And more importantly, who taught him to wait like this? Because no one learns this kind of patience alone. Something or someone shaped him. And the truth behind the connection is closer than anyone expects. The change doesn't happen all at once. It arrives quietly, like most truths do. The dog is in his place when it begins. Same spot. Same posture. Same calm focus. But something about him feels different this morning. Elena senses it the moment she steps into the lobby. The air feels heavier. Not tense, just full. As if the day is carrying something it hasn't yet revealed. Raymond notices it too. He's more alert, he murmurs, watching through the glass. See his ears? Elena nods. They're lifted higher than usual. His body isn't rigid, but it's ready. Waiting for something specific. The doors slide open. A man steps out. Late 30s. Dark jacket. Unshaven. The dog doesn't move. The man walks past, eyes forward. Nothing. A second person follows, a nurse laughing softly with a colleague. Still nothing. Then the doors open again. And Elena feels it before she sees it. A woman steps out slowly. Mid-40s. Hair pulled back hastily. Hands clasped tight in front of her, knuckles pale. She pauses just outside the doors. Not because of the dog. Because she can't go any farther. The dog stands. No hesitation. No pause to assess. He walks toward her, slow, deliberate steps. Stops just short of her feet. Sits. The woman looks down. Her breath stutters. Oh, she whispers. Her knees bend without permission. She sinks to the concrete, one hand bracing against the wall. The dog inches closer, then stops. Close enough to feel warmth. Far enough to give space. I tried to be strong, she says quietly. I really did. Elena's chest tightens. This is different. The woman's voice isn't shaking from stress. It's shaking from release. I told them it was okay, the woman continues. I said I understood. She presses her forehead into her hands. But I don't think I do. The dog leans in. Just enough for his shoulder to touch her knee. The woman gasps, then exhales. Long, deep. Unraveling. I didn't want to fall apart in there, she says. They needed me calm. Her fingers curl into the dog's fur. And now, her voice breaks. Now I don't know how to leave. The dog stays. Doesn't shift. Doesn't pull away. He is steady in a way nothing else is. Raymond steps back from the glass, giving privacy. Elena turns slightly, though she can't look away. Minutes pass. The woman's breathing slows. Her shoulders drop. She lifts her head and looks at the dog. How did you know? She asks softly. The dog blinks. Once. That's all. She laughs quietly through tears. I guess it doesn't matter. She rests her palm against his chest, feeling the rhythm beneath. When she finally stands, her movements are steadier. Not healed. But supported. She wipes her face, straightens her jacket. Thank you, she whispers. I can go home now. She walks away. The dog watches until she's gone. Then he returns to his spot. Sits. But he doesn't relax. Not fully. Elena steps outside after a moment. You okay? She asks gently. The dog turns his head toward her. His eyes are soft, but there's something else there now. Anticipation. The doors open again. A familiar figure steps out. Elena's breath catches. It's the man from earlier in the week, the one who said the dog reminded him he wasn't alone. He stops when he sees the dog. The dog stands. This time, he walks all the way to him. No stopping short. No pause. The man swallows hard. I was hoping you'd still be here, he says quietly. The dog sits directly in front of him. Close. Certain. The man kneels and presses his forehead gently against the dog's. I didn't tell you then, he whispers. But today was goodbye. Elena feels tears sting her eyes. The man's hand trembles as he strokes the dog's fur. I came back because I didn't want to carry that alone. The dog exhales softly, as if acknowledging the weight. They stay like that for a long moment. When the man finally stands, something has shifted. Not erased, but shared. As he walks away, Elena realizes the truth. This isn't just comfort. This is timing. The dog appears when the last layer breaks, when strength runs out, and honesty finally arrives. This is the turning point. Because now it's clear. The dog isn't waiting randomly. He's waiting for the exact moment people can no longer hold everything inside. And that kind of knowing doesn't come from instinct alone. The truth begins to surface the way morning light does. Slowly. Gently. Without announcement. It starts with a photograph. Elena notices it late one afternoon while walking past the volunteer bulletin board near the east hallway. Flyers overlap, corners curled. Smiling faces. Thank you notes. And then a familiar shape. She stops. Leans closer. The photo is older. Slightly faded. A man in a light jacket stands near the hospital entrance, smiling warmly at the camera. At his side, a dog. Same markings. Same posture. Same calm eyes. Younger. Elena's breath catches. She reads the caption beneath the photo. In loving memory of Thomas Reed, hospital volunteer, 2014 to 2021. Always early. Always patient. Always present. Her eyes drift back to the dog. Oh, she whispers. Raymond joins her moments later. You found it, he says softly. Elena turns. You knew? Raymond nods. I didn't at first, he admits. But I started asking questions. He gestures toward the photo. Thomas used to sit right there every morning before sunrise. Same spot. Same routine. Elena's chest tightens. He wasn't staff, Raymond continues. Just someone who understood waiting. The pieces begin to settle. Thomas had volunteered at the hospital for years. He didn't rush people. Didn't try to fix them. He sat with families who didn't want to be alone. Walked with patients who needed quiet company. Waited with people who weren't ready to go home. And always his dog waited with him. They were inseparable, Raymond says. Dog followed him everywhere. Learned the rhythm. Elena closes her eyes. The timing. The patience. The precision. He's not waiting for people, she murmurs. He's waiting like someone. Raymond nods. When Thomas got sick, the dog still came. Sat outside. Waited. Elena opens her eyes. What happened? Raymond exhales slowly. Thomas passed here. Quietly. One early morning. Silence stretches between them. He never came back, Raymond continues. But the dog did. Elena looks toward the entrance. Toward the spot. So he's not lost, she whispers. No, Raymond says. He's remembering. That evening, the dog arrives as usual. Before sunrise. Sits. Waits. Elena steps outside with a small blanket and places it nearby, not touching him. Just offering. The dog glances at it, then at the doors. Elena sits beside him. I know now, she says quietly. You're doing what he taught you. The dog's ears lift. The doors open. A woman steps out, young, tired, holding herself together by habit alone. The dog stands. Moves toward her. Elena watches with new eyes now. This isn't instinct. This is legacy. The dog isn't sensing pain at random. He's continuing a promise. To wait. To notice. To stay. Because once, someone did that for him. And now, he does it for others. Elena swallows. He showed you where to sit, she whispers. Who to wait for. The dog sits beside the woman. Calm. Present. As if guided by memory. As if Thomas is still there, through him. And for the first time, Elena understands. The dog doesn't leave when people are done. He leaves when the moment is complete. When waiting has done its work. This isn't about loss. It's about continuity. About love that doesn't end, it just changes shape. And as the woman finally stands, steadier than before, the dog returns to his place. Sits. Waits. Because this is what he knows. This is what he was taught. And the calm he brings is borrowed from someone who once sat right here and never stopped caring. The morning feels different now. Not louder. Not brighter. Just softer. The dog is in his place before sunrise, as always. The concrete is cool beneath him. The glass doors reflect the pale gold of early light. But there is a sense of knowing in the air. Elena steps outside with a paper cup of coffee, the steam curling upward. She doesn't rush anymore. She sits on the bench nearby, close enough to share the quiet. You did good today, she says softly. The dog doesn't look at her. He watches the doors. The hospital wakes gently. A nurse exits, stretching her shoulders. The dog stays still. A man steps out, talking on his phone. Nothing. Then the doors open again. An older couple emerges slowly. They hold hands tight, careful. The dog stands. Not urgency. Recognition. He approaches, stops a few feet away, and sits. The woman's eyes fill instantly. Oh, she whispers, pressing her free hand to her chest. The man exhales, long and heavy. They crouch together. No words. Just presence. Elena watches as their breathing steadies, as their shoulders lower, as something unspoken finds a place to rest. After a while, the couple stands. The woman reaches out and gently brushes the dog's fur. Thank you, she says quietly. We needed that. They walk away, slow, but lighter. The dog returns to his spot. Sits. Waits. Raymond joins Elena near the doors. People are calmer when they leave now, he says. Like they expect to be understood. Elena nods. He taught them how to pause. Late morning arrives. The sun climbs higher. The dog's time is nearly done. A final figure steps out, a young man, alone, eyes tired. The dog watches, then stays seated. The young man pauses, confused. Then he smiles faintly. I think I'm okay today, he says to no one in particular. He leaves. The dog stands. Turns once. Looks at the doors. Then, just like every day, he walks away. No hesitation. No lingering. Elena watches until he disappears from sight. She doesn't feel sad. She feels complete. Because she understands now. Healing doesn't always come from answers. Sometimes it comes from being seen for just a moment at exactly the right time. The dog will return tomorrow. Before sunrise. To the same spot. He will wait. Not because he's lost. Not because he's searching. But because waiting done with care is its own kind of love. And the calm he brings will continue to ripple outward. Quietly. Gently. One familiar face at a time.